7 million years of human history would be about to come to an end. It will not be because of man's wars or a meteorite about to crash. The end of the human race will be brought about by the gods, the very creators of everything. Zeus speaks, God of gods. Zeus says, "Attention, remain silent. I consider the council initiated." Gods from all over the world would gather on this day to debate the fate of the human race. So now I ask you, do we allow it to continue to exist for another 1,000 years, or do we end its existence? Gods, show your vows of decision. Shiva, the god of creation and destruction, speaks. I believe that we must end them. I have observed them for hundreds of years, but I have never seen signs that they learn their mistakes. We should annihilate them once and for all. Aphrodite would say, "He is right. Shiva is absolutely right," says the goddess of beauty Aphrodite. Aphrodite would continue, "The world has become uglier and uglier. The oceans are full of garbage and oil. The forests are disappearing. To be honest, humans have become a great plague, destroying life on planet Earth." All the gods and demigods present agreed with Aphrodite's opinion. Zeus speaks. The council seems to have reached a conclusion. The council decides that the fate of the human race is its complete annihilation. Brunhilde would say, "No, Zeus, please wait." Zeus stops before making the decision. A Valkyrie appears. Her name is Brunhilde, the eldest of the 13 Valkyries. Brunhilde says, "With all due respect, but there is one issue that I would like to talk about to the gods." Goal would say, "Sister, are you trying to do something?" Brunhilde steals all the attention of all the gods in the hall. A raven of the god Odin Hugin speaks. Hugin says, "Ungrateful, you're just a demigoddess." Munin speaks. "How dare you interrupt the gods when they speak?" Brunhilde replies, "The petty and tyrannical actions of the human race are unforgivable. However, to destroy them would be extremely boring. I propose something to decide whether the human race is worthy of remaining alive for the next 1,000 years, and at the same time demonstrate the piety and power of the gods. Why not put the human race to a test?" Eugen would say, "Approve. Do you want us to flood them again?" Nurnin would say, "He talks about starting the Ice Age and freezing them." Brunhilde would say, "None of that. Is a much better way to do it is here. I mean, God against man, the final battle Ragnarok. All the gods are impressed by the words." A Constitution of Valhalla would say, "The laws of God's final battle against man, in other words, Ragnarok." It is thus a series of 1v1 matches between 13 fighters representing the gods and the human race. The first team to win 7 matches wins. However, the moment humanity loses its 7th encounter, the gods will destroy them mercilessly. On the other hand, if humans win, then the gods will allow them to exist for 1,000 more years. However, this law has never been executed in the entire history of the human race. A reason is that it would be impossible for humans to win a battle against the gods. In other words, it is an extrajudicial clause, a provision that was enacted solely to entertain the gods. Everyone begins to mock the Valkyrie. Hugin says, "Humans are no match for the gods." Brunhilde says, "I understand it means that the gods themselves want to evade a direct confrontation against humans. That also means, and only maybe, they are afraid of losing." All the gods in the hall began to get angry, except for Zeus, who says, "Ha ha ha, I'm glad you're mentioning it would be fun. The wrath of the gods and overwhelming power. Listen, oh my mighty gods, let us have a battle between us, the gods, and the human race. The decision is made. The prize of the gods and the demigods were heard throughout the communal." And that was how Ragnarok would begin. Zeus continues, "Valkyrie, listen to me. You will be the one who chooses the representatives of the human race. I see that you want to help men. How tragic." Brunhilde says, "I will select the 13 strongest humans who have existed in the hundreds of millions of years of human history." Everyone withdraws. The arena of Ragnarok would already be made. Humans and gods filled the stadium with great ease. The biggest fights in history would be about to begin. The referee says, "The rules are simple. The death of the human race, or the gods in other worlds. The battle will be decided when one of the two dies. The first round first by the gods. There's this man. All the gods long to see this god fight. He lives and dies to fight. The strongest of the Norse gods, the god Thor." Goal, the sister at the Valkyrie who started this, will be very worried. Goal would say, "Sister, there's no way we can win." Brunhilde would say, "Calm down. Little Gaul, I'm sure he will be able to. I don't know why, when I look at him he inspires confidence in me, and decides he promised me to win this fight." The referee would say, here comes the man who will represent the humans this time. The man who will represent these scumbags, here he is. It's Son Goku. Aphrodite would say, but how beautiful is that young man? He turns me on. Goku would say, hello, my name is Goku. I hope to have a good battle. Thor would say, confident human, you have a lot of guts to stand in front of me. Goku would say, haha, you won't regret it. Just let me tell you to fight seriously. Otherwise it would be boring. Thor would reply, do you make fun of me? Goku would say, not at all. Just do not disappoint me. The signal to begin sounds. Why forget? Humans are gods. The fight begins. Thor attacks Goku as soon as the battle begins. He stops his blow with his arm. Goku says, wow, you're strong. Thor would say, you endured one of my blows. Goku would say, that's right. I told you to give it all, or this will end quickly. Goku punches the god in the face, making him back off. Gods and humans go crazy within 10 seconds of battle. The Valkyrie is also surprised. Gohan would say, sister, where did you get that man? Brunhilde would begin to tell how Goku came to Ragnarok. Brunhilde would reply, I was missing the last man from the Ragnarok. When I went to look for the man who is said to be the strongest man, the most dangerous and fierce among men, that man called himself Lubu. But when I approached him, he was fighting with someone else. It is said that Lubu finishes all his battles with a single blow, but this time someone played against him. Lubu, the most fearsome man, was defeated by a single blow. Sorry, it was not my intention. I let myself be carried away by the emotion, apparently. Mr. Whis lied to me. There are no strong people here. Brunhilde would say, and who are you? Goku would reply, haha, I'm Goku. Who asks? Brunhilde would say, I'm Brunhilde, the eldest of the 13 Valkyries. Goku would reply, Valkyrie? What's that? Brunhilde would say, tell me, are you interested in fighting? Goku would say, that's right. I came to find powerful warriors, but I can't find anyone. Brunhilde would say, you believe that the man you just defeated is not powerful? Goku would say, I didn't mean it in a bad way, it's just not what I was looking for. Brunhilde would say, tell me, human, would you like to participate in Ragnarok? And Goku would reply, what is Ragnarok? Brunhilde explains, Ragnarok is a 13 versus 13 match. This time we will pick the most powerful gods of this world against 13 are the most outstanding humans in battle. I really lack a few more warriors, and I see that you are strong. Would you like to participate? Goku would say, if they're not lying to me and they really are strong people, I accept with pleasure. And tell me, what are the consequences? The gods want to destroy them or something? Brunhilde is surprised and said, why do you know that, human? Goku would say, haha, so are all the gods? So, it was with Mr. Beerus. Brunhilde would ask, who was Beerus? Goku would say, forget it. Brunhilde would ask, human, have you faced gods? Goku would say, we could say that's something like that. And Brunhilde replied, okay, I'll tell you, listen carefully, if humans lose 7 battles, it will be destroyed by the gods. But if they win, the gods will let them exist 1,000 more years. The existence of human life is at risk. Goku, okay, I will participate. Sounds interesting. Brunhilde, that's how Son Goku got here. And to test his power, I chose him to have a fight first. The referee would say, wow, but what do we see here? The human has made Thor back off. Nor does it seem the human will be the first human to fight this powerful god. Gohan would say, wow, sister, look, it's very strong. Goku would say, come on, Thor, I know you're hiding something. Attack me with everything. Goku and Thor have a fight. Goku attacks with his fists, but Thor defends himself using his hammer. Zeus says, I'm starting to suspect that human, in the first place, there is no human who can give a fight to a god, especially Thor. And this human has him cornered. And in second, this human is not using any weapon, and still fights that way using martial arts. I wonder where the hell did you get that warrior? Thor speaks. You don't really look human, you have a lot of strength, but if you want me to fight seriously, I will. Thor takes off the glove that he carries in his hand. Gloves that, to bump to the ground, raises a lot of dust, making a small hole of how heavy it is. Thor's hammer begins to mutate and takes on a disgusted shake. Goku says, come on. I wait for you. Thor raises his hammer, throwing it at Goku with all his might. He hits Goku by sending him to fly away, hitting the wall. Thor says, so far you came, human. Brunhilde was worried. Goal says, sister, I killed him with a single blow. The referee says, Thor has showed his might and smashed that human to smithereens. Goku was being covered by a curtain of dust. Referee says, it looks like we already have a winner. Goku says, oh, what pain. I didn't expect it. The referee says, what? The human Son Goku is still alive. and seeing that he's unaffected by the attack of the god Thor himself. Everyone is very impressed. Gaul says, "How is he still alive after that?" Brunhilde says, "I don't know, that guy is weird." Goku says, "What do you mean? It didn't affect me. It hit me in the head and it hurt. Look, nothing else, you're really strong. It's fine. I'm going to show you a little of my strength, since it would be very bad of me not to show you my power while you do it." Thor would say, "What are you saying, human? How come you're still alive?" Goku made the whole combat arena tremble, transforming. The referee says, "Whoa, but what's that? Is it really human? His hair changed to yellow." Everyone would be very impressed and stunned by Goku's sudden transformation. Brunhilde was a little worried. Zeus was impressed and confused. Zeus would say, "This guy doesn't look human. No human has achieved anything like that. But now it doesn't matter. Let's see what happens." Thor says, "I see you can transform. Tell me, are you a god?" Goku says, "No, I'm just a Saiyan raised on the earth of my world. I'm just looking for strong people to fight with." Thor says, "Your name is Goku, right?" Goku says, "That's Thor. How did you get here?" Goku says, "That will sound somewhat confusing, but where I come, and there are also very powerful gods. Even I have a teacher who takes care of a god. He sent me here for training to face powerful people. But I don't think I should have told you that, if they wouldn't not let me keep fighting." Thor said, "Quiet. I will not say anything. I've never had a fight as exciting as this." "Goku, fight!" Goku raises his ki. Thor has always been a god of fear. No one had ever put up with him so much in a fight, let alone endure the most powerful attack he has with his hammer. Thor always defeated his enemies with a single blow. As a result, all the fights became boring to him. But this time with Son Goku, Thor felt excited, as he could give it all, as he knew that such a combat would be fought. Goku launches to attack Thor, and Thor again tries to throw his hammer. Goku, in his transformation of Super Saiyan with a single punch, shatters Thor's hammer. All the gods are impressed. All the gods and demigods in Ragnarok Colosseum begin to scream. The gods say, "This is unheard of. There is no human who could do that." They are sure that this subject is not a god. The human answers, "Fearful gods, now fear a human just because he is stronger than you." Goku, after destroying Thor's hammer, is kicking Thor in the abdomen, leaving him out of combat. Goku, really are strong, but I'll keep here to see what happens." Goku returns to his base state. "Referee, you will not be able to fight anymore." "What?" Suddenly Thor gets up and calls Goku and smiles. After that, Thor faints. Humans start screaming, "We won!" The referee says, "Son Goku is the winner of the first fight." Gaul says, "Victory is ours." Brunhilde says, "That's right, he won the first match. We have the advantage." Zeus would begin to suspect more of Goku. Goku would say, "You didn't lie to me, that guy is strong. But I could feel the presence of someone much stronger inside this Colosseum." Brunhilde says, "Who are you? Why do you have so much power?" "Ha ha ha," says Goku. "I'm a Saiyan who came to have a little fun. I kept my promise to win the first match. Now who will I fight?" Goku would ask who would be the next fight. The Valkyrie would reply. Brunhilde would say, "I don't know. If you want, I could do it again." Gaul would say, "Aren't you hurt?" Goku would say, "The truth is, I'm already as good as new, and these gods are not very powerful like the gods of my world." Gaul would say, "Of your world? Tell me a little more about you, Goku." "Nah, it'll be on another occasion, by the way. Do you have anything to eat? I'm really hungry." Brunhilde would say, "Okay, I'll feed you just because you won this match. And I also can't get you to participate again as it's forbidden in Ragnarok." Goku would say, "Well, it doesn't matter. At least I'll eat." While Goku raised all the food, the god spoke. Zeus said, "It is more than evident that this mortal is not a human, nor could he say that he is a god." Aphrodite would say, "We have to ask Thor to know more about this." Zeus would say, "It would be the best. We have lost the first meeting. But there's no need to worry, just as careful with the supposed human, Son Goku." Brunhilde would say, "Well then, let's choose this man for the second round." Goku would say, "How rich I ate. Thanks a lot. I see that's the second fighter." Brunhilde would say, "Goku, that's right. That's number one." Goku would say, "Number one? What does that mean?" Brunhilde would say, "He's the first human to touch this world." Goku, impressed, would say, "The first? Wow. This world is something crazy." Everyone in Ragnarok would be crazy about the second matchup. All the gods had a bitter taste in their mouths from the first encounter. The referee would say, "Are you ready? Let the second round begin. This warrior carries the hope of humanity. Here is the subject who will face another god." A human appears with a large entrance to the arena. The referee would say, "The day has come when the first man rebels against his father. His name is Adam." The entire audience goes crazy for the entrance of Adam, the first human to set foot on the earth. "This time we will win. There is no way for a skinny man like that to defeat a god." The referee would say, "What an unexpected twist. Who will be it? The god who faces the ancestry of the human race?" Suddenly, a melody is heard so fine and fragile. The most beautiful melody that any human could hear. It was Hermes playing the violin. Zeus would say, "Hello, how are they? It's me in person." Grunhilde would be confused and nervous. Humans would say, "That makes a decrepit old man in the ring." The old man begins to dance. The referee would say, "We have the only godfather of the cosmos, god of gods, he's the absolute god." The old man with a skinny and finished body transforms his body into pure muscle. That mighty god is Zeus. All humans were impressed. The Valkyrie and her sisters were worried because they said the god is the most powerful. Brunhilde would say, "Damn, this is definitely unexpected." Zeus would say, "Tell me, human, will you fight without any weapon?" Adam would say, "True." One of the 13 Valkyries entered the field, serving as a weapon for Adam. Zeus would say, "I see that this is the plan to defeat us." How smart they are. So the Valkyries give their soul to a weapon. The Valkyrie had become a fist of steel. All the gods sneer for the second weapon. The referee says, "Well, let's start the second round of Ragnarok." Adam representing the human race and Zeus representing the gods. Zeus would say, "This will be a fist fight. Haha, you chose an interesting weapon. It's a good weapon. Tell me, what is yours, grandfather?" "I will not use any weapon, only my fists. I will listen as my fists break all your bones." Haha. "Are you sure? Don't regret it." Goku, impressed, says, "This fight is going to be interesting. Come on, Adam. You can. It's amazing." So he was the first man to touch the ground. Let's get started. The signal to start the fight sounds. Zeus begins with a quick blow. Adam dodges it effortlessly. Wow, but what do we see? A blow from Zeus that equals the speed of light and Adam effortlessly dodging it? Wow, that guy is awesome. Human, you are pretty good. I won't hold back. Here I go. Zeus again launches with a combo of blows. Meteor strike. Adam effortlessly dodges all blows again. Suddenly Zeus throws his divine axe, one of his strong attacks, a large powerful hook kick to the torso. Adam dodges the attack as if it's nothing. He just dodged one of Zeus's deadly blows. What agility of that boy! Zeus says, "I'm surprised, but nevertheless, you cannot escape my blows all the time. So you will not win." Adam responds, "You're right, Zeus." Surprising Adam copies his attacks, returning each blow with the difference of Zeus could not dodge a single blow. The meteor blow, even the divine axe, all those blows caused enormous damage to Zeus. I can't believe it. First Adam dodges the blows of Zeus, and now uses those very same attacks against the great god Zeus. This is impressive. Humans riot with excitement. Very well. You are also. Keep it up. Sister, who is Adam? It is very strong. God created man in his own image and likeness. Genesis 1 verse 27. Brunhilde says, "So it is, other words, Adam is a copy of a god. Adam knows how to use the arrogance of the gods against them. That is the power of Adam." Galt says, "I understand, sister. We can win." Zeus says, "I haven't had fun like that for many years." Zeus attempts another type of attack by moving his feet quickly. That way of moving your feet, maybe you want to finish it in one blow. Binds the god of war, Ares. Ares says, "We'll kill him with a kick." Zeus moves super fast throughout the battle arena. Adam analyzes it. Zeus says, "How about this?" Zeus kicks the Adam and dodges it again, using the technique against Zeus, kicking him in the face, causing Zeus to fall to the ground. Zeus was getting tired. Adam says, "I don't want to force myself to do this, but this is a fight. Sorry, Grandpa." Zeus says, "Ha ha ha. Did you call me grandfather?" Zeus transforms his body, becoming more muscular and bigger. Zeus says, "Let's see, Adam. I want you to try to copy this." This would be Zeus's most powerful attack. Zeus would say, "This attack is called the attack that governs in time, the fist that exceeded time." Zeus attacks Adam, but to his surprise, Adam has already copied the attack in a matter of milliseconds, and did it first by collapsing Zeus. Adam says, "Thank you very much, Grandpa, for that attack." Goku says, "Those guys are really amazing. I suddenly feel like fighting." Ares sees what happened. That's impossible. Hermes explains the situation. Hermes says, everything seems to indicate that Adam's seer power is superior to Zeus's. Everything indicates that when Zeus made his blow, Adam copied everything dodging Zeus's blow and returning it to him with the same power, making him fall again. The humans say, Zeus is on the ground again. He's apparently finished. All the humans had already given the fight for win. Gaul says, sister, tell me, who is Adam? Brunhilde said, I already told you. His power is the wickedness of his heart. Evil in the heart? Brunhilde says that's right. In other words, the hatred of the gods. Adam's story. Long ago, Adam lived with all the natural comforts and animals of paradise, but that did not last long. Tells the story of Adam. Eve, his wife, was judged for eating the sacred fruit of good and evil. The snake says, I saw her eat of the sacred fruit. Eva says, it's not true. That's what he says. However, the truth is that the serpent set a trap for him. The serpent tried to possess Eve, but she defended herself. The serpent swore revenge, bit the forbidden fruit to blame Eve and thus be expelled from paradise. Eve was sentenced to the aid of paradise. Since the serpent was a god, the judge also, the probability that Eve was not guilty were few. Suddenly Adam entered the court of the gods with many apples of the scare tree, biting and spitting them out. Eve, if you leave, then I will go with you. Eve hugs Adam. The angry snake tried to attack Adam. The snake says, it doesn't speak happy endings for you. Adam says, you know I asked the birds what happened. They told me you made Eve cry. The snake says, that's right. So what of it? I'm going to kill them anyway. The serpent tries to cut Adam with his claws, but Adam copies his attack first, by attacking with the same attack against the snake. Then Adam and Eve left the heavens forever. That's why Adam hates the gods. I understand sister is very sad. When everything seems to be over and that Adam had won, Zeus stands again. Zeus says, I'm still here. Goku says that guy is resilient. Old man, don't push yourself too hard. Very well, very well. Your attack was surprising. But tell me something in your eyes and heart. I do not perceive hatred or revenge in your answer my question. Why were you fighting the gods? Everyone asked me the same question, and now so do you. Hate, revenge, there's no other reason to do what I do. I only protect my dependency. After those words of Adam, all prayed for Adam's victory. All were astonished at his words. Zeus says, not bad. You managed to captivate the whole audience. Not bad, I will admit it. Boy, you are strong. I thought I would defeat you this way, but I was wrong. I never thought to use this form again. Suddenly, Zeus contracts all his muscles. Zeus writhes in agony, crushing his muscles. Zeus becomes smaller but slightly muscular. That is his final form, the most powerful form of Zeus. Adam feels a dreadful omen and is on guard before seeing Zeus. It is an instinct in the face of danger. Goku says, whoa, got stronger. I wonder who will win. That god is at the disadvantage, yet with a form he surpasses Adam. Interesting, although I worry that Adam will die. Why do you say that, Goku? Goku replies, it's just my guess. Brunhilde says, whatever happens will happen and no one will be able to intervene, at least of all you, Goku. Otherwise the gods will kill you. Goku says, but I don't want to die, and I don't want that boy to die. Zeus says, very well, mortal. This is my final form. Everyone trembled before the instinct of danger, except Goku. Goku says, why do they tremble? Asked Goku as he puts a piece of meat in his mouth. And Shiva says, what? I never thought I would use that way. Zeus, I ask you a favor, do not break the heavens. Zeus launches himself with a deadly move by storing energy by compressing his fists, and then releasing that energy with a punch that he throws at maximum speed. Zeus says, the true right hand of God. Even his most powerful forehand. In its final form, Adam was able to copy it and use it against Zeus. Zeus says, the true left hand of God. Another blow that Adam can copy by his divine reflection in his technique up his sleeve. Adam copies with a combo of blows against Zeus. Brunhilde says, no, it's not possible. Goku says, so you figured it out. Goku, did you already know? Goku says, this will be a fight of resistance, or the old one resists more receiving the blows of Adam, resists more copying the blows, or will be overloaded. His own divine power will be his downfall. Gaul says, what? No, I don't want Adam to die. Goku says, that's right, neither do I. Brunhilde says, no, I never thought that this old man would find a way to defeat the divine reflection by giving him more power to overload and exploit. That decrepit old man was cunning. Munin says, Zeus is going to win, it's only a matter of time. Loki says, do not be so happy, says the god Loki, god of deception entering with the other gods. Why do you say that, Loki? Loki says, look at Zeus, he's being very badly injured. Just look at his body. His muscles are about to explode, that fight will not last forever. The sons of Adam weep for him. Goku realizes that Zeus keeps attacking non-stop. Adam just copies the attack and uses it against Zeus, but Adam is getting more and more overloaded. All the whole audience as well as men and gods stood up for the great fight that would very soon come to an end. The bursts of blows are still continuing. Zeus manages to hit Adam. Oh no, Adam, don't die. This would be the last blow that would end Adam's life. The overload of divine technique was killing Adam. The last blow that Zeus would give Adam would end his life. But in the end, Goku appears in the arena, stopping the blow, saving Adam's life by very little. It's you. All the gods present get into the fight. Goku says that's right. My name is Goku, and you already have the fight won. I do not see why you have to kill him. He has a family and I will not let you kill him. The gods get in to defend Zeus. Shiva says, you interfered in a Ragnarok fight. That is forbidden, and the payment will be your death. Goku says, I see them. They want to fight me. Goku says with a cold stare, causing the gods to panic and take a step back. This time he was something more different than their instinct of danger. It was the feeling that no god had ever felt. Goku wears his fighting pose. Goku says, I will fight with all of you if it's what you want. That you say, human. Do not underestimate us, you imbecile. Zeus says, quiet. Leave him alone. It's true, and I won't fight. I do not have to kill him. But tell me something, Goku. You're not human, are you? Tell me who you are. Goku says, I'm an earthling raised on Earth. My name is Goku. Zeus says, ha ha ha, don't lie to me. You're different. Zeus falls on his knees very tired. Goku says, it's better that they take him to the emergency room. I will do the same with Adam very soon. We will face Calm. I hope that they are very strong. Ares says, how dare you, human. Goku retires with Adam. Brumhilde says, Goku, why did you do that? You could have been dead. Goku says, calm down. They don't have the necessary power to defeat me, and I could not let him die. He has a soul inside that weapon, and also a family. Brunhilde and her sisters are sad at the same time very happy because Goku saved his sister and one of the 13 Valkyries. Goku says, very well. That was a good show. I'm hungry. I want to eat. Goku leaves the place. Brunhilde says, who is that guy? What is its power? Why did the gods recoil when they saw him? The gods were speaking. Ares says, did they notice? Hermes says, I saw it in his eyes. That guy is very powerful. Zeus says, it's not just any being. I'm beginning to believe that it would belong to a world very different from ours. However, I'm struck by its strength, and I also have something prepared in case something goes wrong. Shiva says, well, we're tied for a win. The next to fight will be Poseidon, right? Aphrodite says, this is Poseidon and he will fight the third combatant. Zeus says, very well. With Poseidon, we will have another battle assured. Ha ha ha. Kills me the desire to face that such Goku. Meanwhile, back in Universe 7 on planet Earth, Vegeta says, where the hell is Kakarot? The second fight has just finished. A loss and a victory by both sides. Goku says, Adam fought very well, and I could feel that this Zeus guy was really strong. And now, who will fight in the third round? The Valkyrie Brunhilde, with a disappointed voice, says, there will be no more fights. 2 of our best warriors left the Colosseum. It would be suicide to send any human to fight against a god as powerful as Poseidon. Goku says, then I will fight again. Brunhilde says, impossible. The fighters cannot be repeated. Goku says, it's a pity. So what will you do? A few hours ago in Universe 7, on planet Earth, Gohan shouts, Bulma, are you home? Bulma says, hello, Gohan. What's wrong? Did you need anything? Gohan says, no, thanks. I just came to see if my father is here and has been missing for a few days. Vegeta says, Kakarot is not here. Gohan says, good afternoon, Mr. Vegeta. Where will my father meet? I've been looking for him for a few days ago. I wanted to train with him. Vegeta says, train? Apparently you still have Saiyan blood in your veins. Bulma says, Goku may be training with Whis. Gohan says it's true. Bulma, thank you very much. Vegeta says, what? That insect wants to overtake me. Could you call Whis? I want to go to where Kakarot is right now. Bulma says, it's okay, Vegeta. Gohan, get ready, you can go with the cheetah. Gohan says, yes, thanks a lot. Bulma calls Whis, offering him lots of ramen. He obviously accepted by coming to the planet Earth and taking Gohan and Vegeta with him. Vegeta says, very well. Confesses Whis, where is Kakarot? Stupid. Gohan says, that's right. Mr. Whis, I haven't found it for days. Whis says, Goku came here saying that he insisted we make him fight with the strongest warriors because he was bored, typical of a Saiyan. Then I gave him the choice and I opened 3 portals to different dimensions in the whole multiverse. I really did not know if I would take him to a place with strong warriors or not, but he chose, and went to the dimension that is identical to planet Earth, where there are also deities apparently in that place. There are interesting beings. Gohan says, Mr. Whis, will you be able to send us to where my father is? Vegeta says, that's right, that stupid Kakarot wants to have fun alone. Whis says, of course, it's the least I can do. For all the delicious ramen Bulma gave me. Vegeta says, excellent. Whis opens the same portal through which Goku entered, and Whis says, very well, that is the portal, and by the way, let me tell you something important. How absent-minded I am. I forgot to give this information to Goku. Gohan says, what is it about, Mr. Whis? Whis says, the dimensions are usually somewhat complicated. When a being from another dimensional line enters another dimension, there is a possibility that its power decreases even up to 75%. But in this particular dimension, this does not seem to be the case, so be on the lookout for any side effects. Vegeta responds, thanks for the data. Gohan says, thank you very much, Mr. Whis. Vegeta and Gohan enters the dimension. These come to the world where Goku is, and Gohan says, I think he's here. I can feel that key, right, Mr. Vegeta? Vegeta says, no doubt. It's Kakarot. Let's go at once. Vegeta and Gohan approach where Goku's key is. These arrive at the Colosseum that would be Ragnarok. The guard says, who are you? Not welcome here, insignificant mortals. Vegeta says, what did you say, insect? Says Vegeta, frightening the guard, who is a god. Gohan explains, we're looking for my father. His name is Goku. I wonder if he's here. The guard says, what? Your father? You're the child of that so-called human? Gohan says, that's right. Would you take me to him, please? The guard says, he's inside. You can enter if you want. Gohan says, thanks a lot. Goku says, this key is from... Brunhilde says, what happened, Son Goku? Goku and Brunhilde would be talking about who would be next to fight. And Gohan would say, father, you here. Brunhilde would say, who are you? You can't get in here. Goku would say, Gohan, son, what are you doing here? Hoo-how! Vegeta, you're also here. Then those keys were his. But how did they know about me? Vegeta says, cursed Kakarot, you're left without saying anything to trade and you're alone. Goku says, ha ha ha, this is not what it looks like, Vegeta. Gohan says, father, I was looking for you, including Mother and Gultim, and we had no word from you for days. Goku says, ha ha, I'm sorry, but they arrive at good time. Vegeta, Gohan, she's Brunhilde. Brunhilde, they are Vegeta and my son Gohan. They'll fight with us. Vegeta says, in no way, Kakarot, I flatly refuse. Goku says, come on, Vegeta, I promise you will have fun. Your son and his friend of his. Goku says, that's right, they will help it. Goku explains to Vegeta and Gohan about Ragnarok, and Goku says, basically our enemies are just gods, and I'm helping the Earthlings of this world to fight 13 Earthlings against 13 gods, and the team that gets the first 7 victories wins. If the gods of this world win, we will end human life. And if Earthlings win, they will continue to exist, basically. Some wrestlers left the arena, but now as you're here, everything has been fixed. Vegeta says, I understand. These are how Earth martial art fights sound. Interesting to fight against gods of this world. Gohan says, I will also participate, Dad. Goku says, very well. Everything is solved. They will participate. Brunhilde says, what? But how do I know if they are strong? Goku says, quiet. They're very strong. By the way, how did they get here? Gohan says, Whis bought us, father. As I explained before, I was looking for you and I ended up visiting Mr. Vegeta. Then we went to Mr. Whis, and we ended up here. Goku says, I understand. And why were you looking for me, Gohan? Gohan says, my mother and Goten were worried about you since you disappeared out of nowhere, and also because I want to join the fights again. Goku says, wow, son, what good news. Vegeta says, Kakarot, tell me something. Hasn't your fighting power been reduced? Goku says, my power? Why did you ask me that, Vegeta? Vegeta says, Whis told us that there are dimensions like this that can shorten your power excessively. Goku says, huh. Well, I haven't felt anything weird at the moment. Vegeta says, I see. We'll have to keep our eyes open. Brunhilde says, dimensions? Power? What the hell is going on here? Who are you guys really? Can't you be human? Brunhilde would be very confused, and somewhat worried. Vegeta would say, me and Kakarot are pure-blood Saiyans, and the boy is the son of Kakarot. He's half-human, and also has Saiyan warrior blood. And in summary, we are Saiyans with warrior blood running through our veins. We are not from here, and not from the parts of your deities. You have to understand. We are a totally different dimension to this. Brunhilde is surprised and says, Saiyan race? I've never heard that breed in my entire life. Vegeta says, well, that does not matter. It's something that's weak beings like you could not understand. No, answer my question. Are strong those gods that must be faced? Goku says, it's really not like fighting with Mr. Beerus, but if there are some who max the power of a Super Saiyan. Vegeta says, what a big disappointment then. It's not worth transforming, as it would be a quick fight. Goku says that's true, but don't trust yourself. There's something among them all that has me a little worried, is someone who's really powerful. Brunhilde says, excuse my ignorance in view that you are only helping me. I thank you very much. I do not understand anything about you, but it's obvious that I need your help to win these fights. But the next god to fight is Poseidon, one of the most powerful gods. Goku says, then who among you will fight? Vegeta says, Kakarot, I imagine that you've already participated in this tournament. Goku says, I fought in the first round, so I can't participate anymore at the moment. Vegeta says, Kakarot, if these gods are a waste of time, I will change sides to face you. Goku says, believe me, very soon we will meet someone really strong. Vegeta says, interesting, then I'll fight first. Do you agree, Gohan? Gohan says, yes, Mr. Vegeta. Brunhilde would be surprised at how the Saiyan would be so carefree when the next god to fight is supposed to be a terrifying beast. Everything was already decided. Vegeta would be the one who fought against the great god Poseidon. The third fight would start in Ragnarok. In Ragnarok, it dominates a great ocean on the edges of the sand, and the referee would say, welcome to this third meeting, the final battle of God and man. On both sides, they have a victory and a defeat. Next, after the great fight of the great powerful god Zeus, the next warrior who will fight for the gods comes here. The sea begins to behave strangely, because the emperor of the seas approaches the sea, divided, giving way to the warrior. All the gods in the stands fear of his fury. The most feared god of all, one of the most powerful gods of all, the second son, and his name is Poseidon. All the gods fear his great power. The referee says, and on the other hand, the greatest idiot who will face this god of the seas, and he is said to be the friend of the warrior who defeated the god Thor himself. His name is Vegeta. Vegeta enters the sand and says, insect, did you just call me an idiot? Perhaps you want me to annihilate you, damned lizard. The referee would be nervous about Vegeta's presence. Vegeta would say, we will settle this matter later. So he's my opponent. All the gods are surprised. Aphrodite says, who is he? Is he a friend of you who defeated Thor? Shiva says, interesting. Let's see how strong it is. The referee says the time has come. The third battle representing the gods. The great god Poseidon, and on the other hand representing humans, the great Vegeta. Vegeta stares at Poseidon. Vegeta angrily says, you do not know or have the power or courage to look at me in the face. You are afraid of me or what? Poseidon says, fear of a human scum. They are but petty losers. Vegeta says, what did you say? Poseidon says, won't you use a weapon with the soul of those Valkyries? Vegeta says, I don't need a weapon to defeat an insect like you. These two do not even flinch, do not make a single movement, causing a great tension in the air. The sound of the trumpet is heard again for the third time. The third fight begins. Gaul says nervously, sister, Poseidon is the most feared god of the 12 gods of Olympus. Brunhilde says, the 12 gods you say? Dear little sister, I will take this opportunity to tell you one thing. And Gaul says, what is it about? Brunhilde replies, long ago there were 13 gods on Olympus, just as we, the 13 Valkyries. Gaul says, 13 gods? What do you mean? But one of those 13 gods was killed by none other than Poseidon. Gaul would be surprised and say, a god who killed another god. I never knew about that. And who was that god? Brunhilde says the name of the god was Adamas, the older brother of Zeus and Poseidon, the fearsome Adamas. Long ago, Adamas was very envious of Zeus because Zeus was designated as the main god and organized a rebellion. He freed the Titans and giants who were imprisoned in the underworld, even joining them by one of the cruelest monsters in hell. And with that, he set his plan in motion. Adamas talked to his little brother Poseidon. Adamas said, Poseidon, the time has come. The gods of the heavens and the 48 gods of the heavens will decide to follow me, and not only that, some of the 13 gods of Olympus like Hermes have also decided to join me. You are the only one missing. If you decide to join me, we can cut off the head of Zeus. Listen to me, I'm your big brother. Obviously you're going to help me, Poseidon, or not. Poseidon says, I can't believe you are my brother. You're pathetic. Adamas is surprised by what Poseidon says and says angrily, excuse me, what did you say? Poseidon never looked into his brother's eyes. Adamas said, you don't respect me. Look me in the eye. I'm your big brother. You should respect me. Poseidon rises from his seat and says, the gods do not unite, the gods do not conspire, the gods do not trust others. This is how a god should be. We are perfect, but you. You have already broken each of those rules. Adamas says, damn, maybe you make fun of me. Adamas tries to attack Poseidon. Adamas remembers his best moments with Poseidon when they were children. It has always been the same with you. You've always been like this since you were born. You've always considered yourself superior to me. Poseidon looks into his brother's eyes for the first time, pierces his trident into the abdomen of his older brother, the god Adamas, throwing in like garbage on the ground, making his life snuffed out forever. Brunhilde says, therefore, Poseidon provoked fear among all the gods. Nobody talked about it because they're all afraid of him. Vegeta says, very well. If you don't plan to attack first, I'll do it. Vegeta attacks. Poseidon attacks with his trident. Vegeta was able to dodge the attack. The gods in the stands are impressed to see that the first being who was able to dodge an attack by Poseidon. The referee says, impressive. The great Vegeta was able to dodge Poseidon's attack with ease. Vegeta says, insect, do not underestimate me. Vegeta punches Poseidon's trident by pushing him back. All the humans are impressed. Poseidon looks into Vegeta's eyes and Vegeta says, so you finally think about fighting seriously. If there is anything in which Poseidon and Vegeta resemble, it would definitely be their great pride as warriors. Vegeta attacks Poseidon with a great flurry of punches and kicks, but he defends himself with his great trident. Ares trembles, saying, how is that a human? And he could give so much trouble to a god like Poseidon. Poseidon quickly counters against Vegeta. He dodges all its blows, but each time Poseidon moves faster, like cutting a little hair of Vegeta, making him retreat. Humans and gods are very excited about the result, and Vegeta says, don't underestimate me, insect. While Vegeta speaks, Poseidon attacks Vegeta, hitting him with his trident and hurting him a little. Poseidon with his trident makes a dome of blows towards Vegeta, trying to cut him. He dodges all his attacks, but Poseidon persists again and again. Vegeta smiles and says, is that all you have? You are just an insect, and he transforms into Super Saiyan, causing Poseidon to be pushed aside by the pressure of transformation. Poseidon says, it's the same thing that the other supposed human used against Thor. Interesting. Let's see what you can do now. Vegeta disappears and appears right next to Poseidon. Here it's too late to be so conceited. Tell me, Poseidon, how does it feel to be a god? Poseidon says, a god? A perfect god, who does not need anyone to become strong. That's a god. He's perfect just as he is. Vegeta says, you are pathetic, like a god. What a sad and miserable life you have. Poseidon says, what will a mortal like you know? Vegeta says, at first, I was just as stupid as you, until I met Kakarot, that insect, maybe away from Goku. I thought I didn't need anyone to be strong. I thought nobody could be against me. My great pride made me believe that, but it is not so. I met people that I now protected by life, and that is what makes me stronger and stronger. Vegeta for a brief moment makes Poseidon relive memories of his older brother when he killed himself. Vegeta says, that's why I say that your life as a god is insignificant. You prefer to be alone and be feared. That is your weakness. So you will lose this battle against me, the great Vegeta. Ares says, well, what's going on? That guy anticipates all of Poseidon's blows. I couldn't also hurt him, and also transform like that guy did. Beast subjects cannot be human. Poseidon still does not surrender. This continues to attack. Poseidon hits Vegeta with his tridents in the abdomen, but could not get through Vegeta's body, because it's now as hard as any divine weapon. Vegeta says, understand now, you have no chance. He smiles. I will show you something, so that you can understand the difference between me and you. Vegeta transforms into Super Saiyan 2. Zeus, Aphrodite, Shiva, Ares, Hermes, Odin, Loki, and Poseidon himself at that very moment tremble at the enormous pressure of Vegeta's power, as did the gods and humans in the stands. Shiva says, what's wrong? Why am I shaking? Zeus says, what an exciting match. Vegeta says, Kakarot, because we do not show these attempts of gods what a real battle is. Goku says, Vegeta, remember that the lives of humans are in danger, so end the battle at once. Vegeta says, what a bummer. Very well. God Poseidon, I will give you one last gift. I will show you the taste of defeat. Vegeta creates a huge ball of energy, Poseidon says, "You won't beat the damn human. That's impossible." Vegeta launches the attack. Now, Poseidon was completely destroyed. The great attack caused him to lose his arms. However, Poseidon continued to fight even without hands, using his teeth to grab the trident. Vegeta says, "Vermin, I don't want to kill you. Surrender once and for all." Poseidon pays no attention. Vegeta punches the already wounded Poseidon in the face, knocking him out. Knocking him out of action, Vegeta says, "I must admit that you are very troublesome as a guy. This defeat will make you stronger." The referee says, "What an unpredictable result against humans. They managed to win this fight." Brunhilde would have no words for what she had just seen. The gods remained in silence that seemed eternal. The humans in the stand shout with emotion the name Vegeta. Vegeta says, "What a scandal. Thank you. Take it to the emergency room, if you don't want to die." Gaul and Brunhilde would be very happy for the victory. Goku would say, "Vegeta, you don't think you overdid it a bit? It was that, or kill that guy, although he is not at our height. It's an incredible guy, but not of those who give up by just losing an arm." Goku says, I guess this time it's okay. It was a good fight. Vegeta, but didn't you say you wouldn't transform him?" Vegeta said that guy was strong for a moment. He was able to corner me. Goku says, "Haha, I told you that if they are strong." Vegeta says, "It's no big deal either. Also, I do not feel I've lost my power. I think what Whis said does not apply to this world, but I will keep an eye on it. Then I'll continue in the next fight." Goku says, "That's right. Son, be very lucky." Vegeta would be a little thoughtful, and Goku would ask Vegeta what was happening to him. Vegeta says, "Kakarot, the moment I fought with that god, I had a hunch, a feeling, a very powerful ki as much as that of Lord Beerus himself, but it could only be my imagination." Goku says, "You're wrong, Vegeta. As I told you before, I also felt that ki. It's as if I was asleep, but about to wake up." Vegeta says, "I see. Then it was not my imagination. We have to be attentive." "Son, be very careful of your next confrontation. We have 2 victories, and at this rate the humans will win." Gohan replies, "Very well." Meanwhile, on the planet of Beerus. Beerus sneezes. Apparently someone is talking about me. Whis asks nervously, "Mr. Beerus, you've already woken up?" Beerus says, "Don't lay it down with me. Where is it?" Whis says, "Where is what? What do you mean, sir?" Beerus says, "The only thing that can wake me up from my nap is the delicious aroma of food, and you've hidden something special. Give it to me." Whis says, "Okay. This is the last one, dearest." Beerus replies, "Whis, how could you hide something like this from me, especially when it comes to ramen?" Beerus would remain thoughtful. "Something happened, Mr. Beerus?" Beerus would say, "Where is Goku and Vegeta? They usually bring this kind of thing when they need our help." Whis would explain everything to Beerus, and Beerus would say, "So you bought a little ramen and ate it by yourself." Whis says apparently he only listened to the ramen part. "I think my body needs to stretch a little. It's been a long time since I fought using more than half my power. Besides, Goku and Vegeta had become a little stronger. It would be interesting to try how far they would go." Meanwhile, at the gathering of the gods, Zeus says Poseidon was also defeated. "These beings are incredibly powerful. We have no chance." Shiva says, "Old god, do you plan on surrendering against humans?" Zeus says, "Of course, I won't continue with the fights, but if I see that we will lose one more time against these guys, then I would hesitate to wake up my ultimate weapon." All the gods would begin to worry and be frightened. Goku would say, "Very well then, Brunhilde, who will face my son?" Brunhilde views the data shows that the next god to fight, in the 4th fight, will be the god Hercules himself. 2 warriors who aspire to peace and justice are about to face each other. The 4th fight of the Ragnarok is about to begin. 2 victories for the human race and a victory for the gods. Loki says, "Oh man, seriously you think it's a good idea? If we make that monster angry, I'm sure it would end this whole world. Are you afraid? Don't be afraid to take the risk. Makes it more fun." Ha ha ha. Ares says, "Father, I do not support that. I would prefer 1,000,000 times that humans continue to exist than the demon awakens." Aphrodite in his mind would say, "Zeus is a very proud being, hates losing. That pride could end all existing life." Zeus says, "Ha ha ha, you're wrong, Ares and Loki." Ares says, "Are we wrong? What exactly does it refer to? This is really out of my control. There's something you don't know yet." Odin says, "I will explain it well. Listen only once." Loki says, "Stop intriguing us anymore and tell us at once." Odin says, "This world is just a grain of dust. In a great desert outside of this, There are much larger and more powerful worlds with great technology, and beings that we never have to see. I came to the conclusion that Goku and the other two are beings out of this world, just like the guy who is sleeping right now. Loki says, "What are you trying to say?" The reason why I accepted the Ragnarok tournament is because there is nothing more fun than saying goodbye to this world by showing how strong the gods can be, and seeing how humans would defend themselves. Son Goku and his friends, since those guys appeared, the beings that sleep downstairs apparently want to wake up. And once he wakes up, not only humans will be extinct from this world, but also us. Shiva says, "What are you trying to say? Is it our end is near?" Zeus says it may be, that this fight will be the last, and we will see. Shiva would show a face of indignation and rage. So, Hercules will be next. Gohan says, "Tell me, who is Hercules exactly?" Brunhilde says, "Hercules is a demigod." Goku says, "A demigod?" Vegeta says that means he's only half god. Gull says that's right. Hercules since childhood was always an ordinary man, but he has been a very honorable person and always defended others from the abuse no matter what. If his enemy is much stronger than him, although he did not have the strength he has now, he will always rise to the face of the evil of his people. Gohan says, "Whoa, sounds like a guy who is on the side of justice." Brunhilde says, "Please, defeat Hercules, but don't kill him. He's a very dear person to us Valkyries." Gull says, "Please, calm down. Do not worry." The referee says, "At last, the fourth fight is about to begin. Humans have shown that they are a match for the gods by taking the lead with a victory at Ragnarok. This fourth fight is special. On the part of the gods, a god who was once human son of Zeus, a demigod with extraordinary strength, Hercules." All gods, even humans, rise up shouting the name of Hercules. Hercules was so much loved by almost everyone and all races for his reason of justice and his great goodness. The referee says, "This will be an interesting fight." Next, the one who will represent the human in this fourth fight. This time, the one who will represent the humans is Son Goku's son, Gohan. The humans rise up screaming for Gohan's victory. Humans say, "I know you can. Please, you must win." "So you are the son of the subject who defeated the god boar. I imagine you must be just as strong as your father." Gohan smiles and says, "You're wrong. My father is much more powerful than me, but I promise to give you a good fight. Listen to me well. I will win this fight no matter how it is, and I will ask my father not to destroy the human race." Gohan says, "So you fight for justice? Apparently you and I have something in common." "I fight for what I believe in." Gohan says, "I promise to win this fight, so it won't be so easy for you to defeat me. Just by exchanging a few words with you, I can realize that you are an honorable being. I'm glad to say I can face a guy like you." The referee says, "The fight is about to begin. God against man, and it's Ragnarok. Start!" Gohan in his face form attacks Hercules. This hits him, making him collide with several debris. Hercules says, "Damn it, you really are strong." Gohan smiles. Hercules tries to return the attack, but Gohan's speed shows a great superiority to Hercules' blows, not even reaching Gohan. Gohan again strikes Hercules, but this time Hercules defends himself with his divine weapon. "You are an incredible being. You're very strong, and you even fight without a weapon, all with a clean fist. Very honorable. Sorry to use this weapon, but without it, I will not be able to win against you. Just use what it takes." Hercules transforms his weapon. Harry says, "Oh no, Hercules will use that attack." "Lion of Nemea, devour me whole." The referee says, "What's wrong? It is impressive the tattoos of Hercules are growing." Suddenly he hears a great roar of a lion. The Malage had taken on the appearance of a lion. Gohan would be impressed by the spectacle. Hercules attacks Gohan by surprise. He manages to hit Gohan, making him crash into the building. The referee says, "Hercules has just hit a lethal attack. It is impossible to get out unscathed after that attack." All the gods shout the name of Hercules because they believed that Hercules had already won the battle. Hercules says, "Don't get excited so fast. This guy is not a normal guy." Gull says, "My brother is truly powerful." Goku says, "Hercules is an amazing guy. That stroke hit right on target." Vegeta says, that happens to him as distracted. Brunhilde says this is when things start to get interesting. Gaul would look confused at his sister. Arise. I know very well that I have not yet defeated you. Gohan says, what a good coup, but it won't happen again. Hercules says, I saw all the fights so far. Your friends defeated the god Thor and the god Poseidon himself, as if nothing, even it seems that they have never taught us their true strength. I'm almost sure that you are not human. Well, but that doesn't matter. Gohan, please show me your true strength. I want to know how strong you are, and know if I can be a worthy opponent. Gohan looks surprised at Hercules. Gohan says, I've heard that you are a great subject, a man who fights in the name of justice. You protect the weak from the abusive. If that is true, let me tell you that you have already earned my admiration and respect. As a reward for that, I will teach you the phases of my powers. Hercules says, thank you for your words. Vegeta says, that insect just wants to show off. Goku laughs. That is not typical of Gohan. Surely felt empathy for the other subjects. Gohan says, as you can see, this is my normal form. Gohan transforms into Super Saiyan. And Hercules says, also transformed as well as the other types. Zeus says, that subject also changed the color of his hair. Shiva said, curse, who are these guys? Gohan says, in this form my power increases considerably. This is the phase my father used to defeat Thor. Hercules would be surprised. This one, in his mind, would say, it is impressive. I could only see it from a distance, but once you are close to it, you feel as if the sky wants to crush you. Gohan says, and this is, all Ragnarok would begin to tremble, all humans, like the gods, would be frightened. Transforms into Super Saiyan 2. Loki says, damn, those damn mortals are very smug. Gohan says, this is Super Saiyan 2. We could say this is phase that is much more powerful than the previous one, and is used by Mr. Vegeta to defeat Poseidon. The referee says, what's happening? Apparently Gohan is teaching Hercules the limits of his strength. This is awesome. Gohan's strength has shaken the whole Ragnarok. Will they really be human? I think that's impossible. Hercules says, I will not lie to you. This is really an impressive feat. I feel as if the sky wants to swallow me. I feel a huge pressure in my body, but I also feel emotion. Emotion for fighting with you and even knowing I'm going to lose. Gohan says, that's because you're a great warrior. Listen to me well. This is not all my power. I still have something that surpasses Super Saiyan 2. Hercules says, excuse me? Gohan uses his mystical form. Hercules flies out of the place by the pressure of Gohan's power, crashing into some rubble. Odin says, return to its normal form. Shiva says that guy is such a cocky ass, that he used such a great power, that he even shook the whole Ragnarok just to return to his normal form. Hercules says, why does my body tremble? Although it seems that you have returned to your normal form, I know that it really is not. So I can notice your aura now. You're much more powerful. Gohan says, it's just as you say. Gold says, that guy is very impressive. The Saiyans are very impressive. Vegeta smiles. Hercules says, maybe you can fight that monster. Gohan is impressed by the words of Hercules, and Gohan says, monster? Hercules says, I thank you. I recognize your strength. You are much more stronger than me. But we are in Ragnarok. Here only one can come out with the victory, so I will put all my strength in the next attack. Hercules gets into combat position and stands very still, trying to gather a lot of energy. Gaul says, Again the tattoos of Hercules began to grow more. Loki says, Ares, what is that? Ares says, damn it, Hercules plans to end the fight with the next blow. Loki says, that's right. But answer my question, what is that? Why does Hercules' tattoo cover him more and more? Ares says, it's the price you have to pay, just before becoming a god. Hercules completed the 12 works and mastered the 12 divine arts, but those tremendous powers came at a price. Every time he used his powers, the tattoos expand. Every millimeter the expands inflicts excruciating pain that would knock out any god. Gaul says, sister, what would happen if the entire body was covered by tattoos? Wormhilda says, he'll die. Total annihilation. Goku, Gaul, and Vegeta are surprised. Gaul says, no, brother. Hercules, don't die. Do you seriously plan to take it so far? Brunhilde says, apparently Hercules somehow felt a great admiration for Gohan. That is why he wants to show him all his strength. Let's say he feels indebted because Gohan showed him his true power. Goku says, but if he goes on like this, he will die. Hercules says, I feel indebted that you showed me how strong you are. Now I will show you what I can do. Please accept my challenge. Gohan would look seriously at Hercules and say, gathered great power in that deck, but I feel something is wrong. All gods and humans would be intrigued and frightened. Zeus, surprised, says, don't tell me about it. Hercules says, this is the union of the 12 calamities, the exodus of Hercules, all in one fell swoop. Gaul says, brother! The winner of the fourth fight of Ragnarok would be one step away from the next glow. Humans or gods? Who will win? Hercules' tattoo has gradually marked his whole body. The pain is very unbearable, and painful only Hercules himself could resist that torture. Gohan would realize that something is wrong, but at the same time admire the great effort of Hercules to try to win the fight. Let's test if your justice and love for humans is greater than mine. Warrior Gohan responds to my attack. Gohan would be staring at Hercules for a few seconds. Goku would say, oh no, if that guy keeps on like that, maybe he will die. If that happens, he will die as a warrior. If Gohan understands it, he will respond to Hercules' attack. Gaul would say, no, brother. Brunhilde would be surprised by how far Hercules has taken everything. Gohan gets into position and uses his Kamehameha in his mystical form. Gohan says, I promised Gaul that she won't die. Now you have to promise me that you won't. Hercules smiles. Gohan starts to create the Kamehameha. Gaul shouts, no. Gohan starts to create a great energy between his hands. The referee says, what's going on? The whole Ragnarok is shaking because of Gohan and Hercules' power. Zeus would get a little nervous. Shiva would say, how awesome. Hercules would say, receive the power of the union of the 12 calamities. Hercules releases all this power as well as Gohan. Two great energies collide with each other. Ragnarok would be torn apart by such an impact. The gods and humans would be terrified. Hercules would increase his strength. Gohan would stare at Hercules. Gohan smiles. You really are admirable. Thanks to you, I remembered why I trained to become stronger. Gohan expels much more power, causing Hercules' power to vanish. Gohan deflects his Kamehameha, causing it to impact outside the Ragnarok. Everyone in the stands, both as humans and gods, and the referee himself would be shocked by such a scene. The gods had never known a being other than a god to have the power to disappear everything. Hercules would be severely injured by the pain that comes with using his great power. Hercules, severely wounded, says, I never had a chance against you. You are really incredible. Maybe you can save us all. Hercules falls on the floor. Gohan says, I don't understand what you mean by saving them all, but thank you very much. From now on, I will train to become stronger. I will overcome my limits just like you did. Gaul says, brother. Referee says, what happened? Gohan says, we can't fight anymore. Help him. He's really hurt. The referee says, huh? The referee checks Hercules' body and realizes that Hercules would be knocked out. The referee shouts, the fourth fight of Ragnarok is over. Gohan is the winner of this fight. The referee would be impressed. A minute of silence took over the whole Ragnarok. Out of nowhere, the humans jump with joy and emotion to take another victory. The humans shout, well done, you are the best. Thank you very much. Gods say, how is it possible? This shouldn't happen. Zeus says, defeat after defeat, we are the laughing stock. But I guess it doesn't matter. Shiva says, relax, old man. Remember that I'm next. Be assured of my victory. Zeus says, it really doesn't matter anymore. The end is near. Shiva says, as long as it happens, I'll be the one to stick up for the gods. Goku says, well done, Gohan. Gohan says, Hercules was a great opponent. Gaul would be a little sad. Gohan says, don't worry, Gaul. I kept my promise. Gaul would be happy. Thank you very much. Brunhilde would be surprised by the three great powers of the Saiyans. Vegeta would say, now who will be the next fighter? I understand that the fighters can't be repeated. Who will be the next one? The next one will be a human from this world. We will fight against the god Shiva. Beerus would say, Whis? Whis would say, we have arrived, Mr. Beerus. Goku and the others are supposed to be somewhere around here. Shiva is getting ready to go for his fight in the 5th match. Shiva would say, who the hell are you? From your appearance, I can see that you are also gods. Whis would say, indeed, he's the god of destruction, Beerus. Shiva would say, god of destruction? What kind of stupidity is that? There is only one god of destruction, and that is me. This purple rat is nothing but a fake. Well, never mind. I'll take care of you later. I have more important things to do. Whis would say, more important things? Shiva would say, I'm the next one to fight. I must stand up for the gods, since that Goku and his friends have tarnished our image. Beerus would say, I understand. Someone like you would only be trash. Your level of power is as pitiful as your appearance. Arrogant. Shiva would say, damn rat, do you want to die? Beerus would say, die. So you are the god of destruction of this world. I have never in my life had someone insult me by calling me a rat. And he's come out alive in the face of such disrespect. Right now I will show you what it's like to be a god of destruction. Whis would say, God Shiva, you really give me a bit of pity. Well, I think it's just a bit of bad luck. Beerus would say, I'll give you a chance to defend yourself. Attack me with your best shot. Shiva would start to get enraged. He would stare Beerus in the face. Shiva in his mind would say, what's wrong? Something tells me that if I attack him, I will die. My body is shaking. My body is not responding. What's happening? Shiva would realize that Beerus was not just any god. He could see it just by looking at his eyes. It was his fighting ability, or rather, it was his cells that detected his danger. A great one. A very great one. Shiva would say, damn it. If that's what you ask for, I will attack you with one of the most powerful blows. Suddenly Shiva would stick his hand in his chest. Shiva would stimulate his heart with the help of his hand to increase his heart rate. Shiva would take a reddish appearance. Whis would say, oh, Shiva would say, now I will make you dance with my strength. Shiva using his fists hit with all his strength on Beerus' face, causing a great curtain of dust. Shiva would say, my body warned me that I wouldn't stand a chance against you since you looked like a being I couldn't beat, even using this transformation. But in the end you turned out to be nothing but scum. Suddenly Beerus raised his hand, pointing it to Shiva's face. Beerus would charge the Hakai, making the dust disappear. Shiva's fist would be on Beerus' face. Shiva would realize that he has not hurt him at all. Beerus would say, you are as pitiful as I thought. Now I will teach you the true power of a god. Whis would say, what a pity. What? Shiva would start shaking wildly. Beerus. Hakai. Shiva was completely destroyed. Beerus would say he just turned out to be a show-off. Mr. Beerus, can you feel that? He's an interesting being, but apparently he's asleep. Meanwhile, Brunhilde had already chosen her next fighter. 3 wins for the human race. And one of the gods, definitely the humans, have proven to be on par with the gods. I wonder what kind of fight we'll have now. The humans would start screaming with excitement, while the gods would be a bit disappointed by the result of the previous fights. Tell me, Brunhilde, how is this guy? He is a sumo fighter, the strongest among them. Suddenly in the combat arena appears a sumo stadium. It's time. Entering from the east, the warrior representative among humans. The most spectacular and great martial arts of all. Born in the land of the rising sun, sumo. Among you, the strongest man of all in 2,000 years history of sumo. A man appears in the arena of Ragnarok showing a great musculature. The fighter without rival, Raiden. All the humans shout Raiden's name. Vegeta says, what stupidity. Goku says, what an entrance. He seems to be a strong human. The referee would say, now on par to the gods we have the god of destruction and creation himself. Goku and Vegeta would be scared. Goku would say, god of destruction? Brunhilde would say, what's wrong? Goku would say, it's nothing important. What happens is in my world we also have a god of destruction, and he's very powerful. Even Vegeta and I were defeated by him. His name is Beerus. He's really a being to be feared. Brunhilde would say, how interesting. The one gear is called Shiva. the Hindu god of creation and destruction. So you also have similar gods. The referee shouts, Shiva. He's the one who will represent the gods in the 5th battle. The gods in the stands with a little encouragement, they had to get up from the stands to support Shiva. But no one is present in the arena. The referee would say, what's wrong? Did you not hear me? The god Shiva. The referee would be nervous. The referee would say, Mr. Shiva, it's your turn. No one appears in the combat arena. The humans begin to mock. What's wrong? Are you afraid? That's what happens for underestimating the humans. We have another victory assured. The gods are no competition for the humans. We prove to be on a higher level. Beerus says on a higher level. That's what they think. Suddenly 2 beings appear in the fighting arena. It was Whis and Beerus. Vegeta says, but how? Goku says, it's not possible. Because Mr. Beerus is here? All the humans and gods in the stands would be surprised. Brunhilde would say, Mr. Beerus, is he? Goku would say, that's right. He's the one I was telling you about a moment ago. Beerus shouts, Goku, Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta go down to the fighting arena. Goku says, hello, Mr. Beerus. Hello, Mr. Whis. Vegeta says, what are you doing here? Whis says, well, what can I tell you? I told Mr. Beerus about this tournament and he got curious. That's why we're here. What exactly is going on here? I will explain. This is the Ragnarok tournament where the gods and humans face each other to decide the future of human life. If the humans win, they'll be able to live much longer. We have 3 wins. The first one to get 7 wins will be the winner. What's going on? You be the one who will face me? Beerus says, who is that guy? Vegeta says he's one of the warriors fighting on behalf of the humans. He's supposed to face the god of creation and destruction, a certain god Shiva. Beerus says, will he be the guy I eliminate for being disrespectful? Goku says, are you already defeated him? Raiden says, now I understand. You will be my opponent. You defeated my previous opponent to take his place to fight against me. Alright then, it's time to fight. Vegeta says, shut your mouth. Beerus stares at Raiden. Beerus says, do you want to fight me? The referee says, what is happening? Who are these guys? All the gods would be confused and worried. Zeus replies, who they are? What happened to Shiva? Aphrodite would say, they seem to be very interesting guys. Apparently the man Goku knows them. Zeus would be a little upset. Loki would say, damn it, who do these guys think they are? Zeus and Loki descend into the combat arena. Ares would be confused. Odin would say, I have a bad feeling in all this. Vegeta would yell at Raiden for challenging Beerus to a fight. Vegeta would say, shut up, insect. Beerus would say, we'll now meet at Raiden is strong, but not all of you an opponent for you. Mr. Beerus, Raiden is strong, but not at all an opponent for you. Beerus would say, a flight is a flight. Obey and go out. Zeus would say, ha, who are you? Zeus would stare at Beerus and he suddenly feels something strange. The body of Zeus communicates to him that there is a great danger in front of him, one who he must not oppose. Zeus says, I see that you are not normal beings. Are you a god or something? Vegeta in his mind would say, damn, this gets more and more complicated. Beerus would say, are you the boss here? Your presence is one of the strongest in this place. Zeus would say, unbelievable. He deduced that just by looking at me. Listen, stop complicating things and get out of here. I suggest you watch your words when addressing Mr. Beerus, otherwise you will be eliminated as the other subject. The referee with a trembling voice says, Mr. Zeus, this guy wants to fight with the humor. What should we do? Hold on, what do you mean they will be eliminated like the other subject? Beerus, annoyed, says, disappears from my sight. Vegeta screams, obey if you don't want to die. Wait a minute. That explains why Shiva did not appear. You have anything to do with it? Confess. Beerus stares at Loki. What's going on? Why do you look at me like this? Loki stares at Beerus. Suddenly, fear covers his whole body. Why does my body feel heavy? Who is that subject? My body screams at me that I must run away. Beerus raises his hand in front of Loki's face, charging Hakai energy. You are just as annoying as the other guy. You are all just a bummer. Loki would be trembling with fear and would immediately recognize that he's no match for Beerus. Mr. Beerus, please do not do it. Zeus. So you want to fight the gods? I think it's more than perfect. Let him apparently fight, as he's very powerful. What? Then he will fight? As you hear, Beerus disappeared is Hakai. Loki felt a great relief when Beerus ignored him. What a problem. I wish you luck. We need to win to be able to match this. Hey, old man, that being who is sleeping under this Colosseum is very interesting. Zeus would be surprised and started to sweat. Zeus comes out of the arena without saying a word. Whoa, apparently you're an interesting guy. I'm excited. Apparently, any last I could use all my strength. That interesting. Although, I do not feel a strong presence in you, and you may be like Goku and the others. What do you mean? I speak of you hiding your true power from me. Raiden is surprised. This one smiles. Very well then, I will present them again. Did you hear? This fight is about to start. I don't understand why you guys are there. Goku and Vegeta as well as Whis retire from the combat arena. Very well, apparently there is a last-minute change. Now we will start with the 5th battle of Ragnarok. On the human side, we have the fighter Raiden, a warrior who has dedicated his whole life to sumo. And this time, on part of the gods, we have Mr. Beerus, a strange being that appeared out of nowhere. Zeus himself allowed him to participate after the human raid and challenged him to a confrontation. All the gods at the stands would be confused and surprised by the news. That subject will represent us? Who is he? The gods, you cause a scandal of such news. We don't know who he is. We can't let someone like him represent us. We can't afford to lose the next showdown. Zeus from his throne says, stick your mouth if you don't want to be killed by that guy. Beerus defeated the god who would represent us in the 5th combat, and thus earned the right to replace him. All the gods would be silent at the words of Zeus. Everyone would be very nervous about what might happen, but the most nervous was still Zeus. Pow! I have a bad premonition in all this. Zeus remembers the words of Beerus, exactly as Beerus said, a being that was still sleeping under the Colosseum of Ragnarok. About 10 years below the combat arena, there was a laboratory where Beelzebub, one of the gods that would participate in the Ragnarok experiment. But that experiment area became a containment room, where a being with a disgusting appearance slept. A being from another world. The end is near. Very soon he will wake up. The referee shouts, let the 5th fight begin. Raiden takes a handful of salt with him and votes it in the air. That sauce could have been used for a good meal. Never in my life have I been able to use 100% of my strength. And now I'm able to do it. That is the Beerus who is supposed to be stronger than you. Goku just smiles. What an unexpected event. Vegeta would be somewhat intrigued. What happens, Vegeta? I have a bad feeling about this, but it's not because of Raiden's fight against Mr. Beerus. Beerus told the old man that a being sleeping under the arena of combat is interesting. The old man became nervous when he heard those words, and you and I felt that powerful presence. Something tells me that Beerus' intentions are different. Gohan would remember his quarrel with Hercules. In my comrade with Hercules, he told me something about maybe I could save them all. Could it be that Hercules was referring to that subject? Goku with a serious face would say, that being really must be strong. If Mr. Beerus was interested in him, he must be very interesting. Indeed, Goku and Vegeta would be surprised. When do I get here? Mr. Beerus wanted to test his due strength against the two of you in this tournament. That was the purpose of his visit. But when he arrived here, he felt the presence of an anonymous being, the same being that stole all the attention of Mr. Beerus. He tried to say that this being is stronger than us too. I never said that, but it could be. We will see the capacity of his power when he wakes up. Being more exact, when his 5th fight is over. Gohan would be really surprised. Brunhilde and Gol would be really scared by everything they hear. I don't understand anything. What's going on? Brunhilde screams, no way! Why is all this happening now? What's wrong? Exists! That being exists! Hercules once told me, but I never believed him. Nothing seemed like a story created by a child. What exactly did Hercules tell you? Let's start at once. Attack. Raiden attacks Beerus with a flying kick, but Beerus was able to stop that blow with a single finger. Is that your strength? What a disappointment. I know that you are not a normal being. You are above any god here. I could know at the moment you were about to kill that other god. Even the old man who was supposed to be one of the strongest among all the gods allowed you to fight in this combat. If you had been any guide, those gods would have already annihilated you. Am I right? You are right. These present gods are nothing but trash. But there is someone here who stole all my attention, and he's underneath this combat arena. Raiden is shocked by the information Beerus gave him. Raiden stares at the ground he steps on. Ha ha ha, someone who stole your attention must be a very interesting guy. But since we are in a fight here, only one can come out the winner. What are you planning? I've never used 100% of my strength, since my body could not stand it. So for this fight I had the opportunity to use the Volunder together with my future beloved Thor. So if you allow me in the next blow, I will use all my strength. Beerus would be somewhat confused. Wolander? Beloved? I see you are a seducer. Very well. If you teach me all your strength, I will teach you what I can be capable of. Attack me. I will receive your blow. Answer. What did Hercules tell you? Brunhilde with a broken and nervous voice says, I refer to Azathoth, a being from the outside, to be more accurate. A god from the outside. Azathoth? God from the outside? Interesting. It is something similar to a destroyer god. Brunhilde screams in despair. No, Azathoth is chaos. He is above everyone. He will destroy everything. Brunhilde would be entering into despair. Gol would be very worried at not knowing what to go on. Gol would say, Sister, please calm down. Gol had never seen his sister behave that way. Goku would care about Brunhilde and say, Reassure yourself, if something bad happens, we will help them. Brunhilde, while reassuring herself, said, I'm sorry for my behavior. Now I will explain everything. This information only has the gods of high level. I only know because Hercules told me at the time. I thought it was just a silly story to scare me, but apparently it really exists. I feel very bad for not having believed Hercules. He's one of the few who knew of this, since Zeus had great confidence in him. Brunhilde proceeds to tell everything. The gods are divided into 4 categories: outer gods, elder gods, archetype gods, and minor deities. Minor deities are explained by their own name. We could say that they are demigods, or like me, Walkari gods of low rank. Elder gods are ones that are beings of incredible power, but above them are the outer gods, cosmic and absolute deities. Their conception surpasses this compression of any human intelligence. They are the progenitors of the elder gods. They are also the creators of the universe itself, the pillar of the same god Azathoth, and the first and most powerful among them all. Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, and Whis himself would be surprised. Brunhilde would say, they were also the archetypal gods. This last saying are the enemy deities of the elder gods, and the outer gods, they are the present gods. You mean the old man? So as Zeus is the pillar god of the archetypal gods, the gods of gods. I understand what you are trying to say, that this Azathoth is the enemy chief of the old Zeus. But now that they have him, tell me, what is the reason why they do not end it? Because there is no one capable of killing Azathoth. I keep telling you the story. What's going on? Apparently Raiden is going to make another move. Raiden absorbs a lot of air by releasing it little by little. Raiden in his mind would say, I can now master them to the fullest. Raiden would say, referring to his muscles, we can't play with this guy. I have to give it all in my next move. I'm waiting. Apparently Raiden is planning to attack again. The sumo technique that Raiden had taken is the most powerful move of the Tefl. Thanks to the muscle control allowed by the Bolunder, this would be a devastating attack. 100% Raiden strength in one move. Raiden jumps towards Beerus. Excitement had returned among the gods. Humans as never shouted Raiden's name. Raiden, a few inches from Beerus, quickly shifts his muscle and all his strength to his hand. Crush it! Brunhilde screams. If Azathoth wakes up, we will all disappear. This is why we cannot interrupt the gods who keep him asleep. And suddenly, Brunhilde, Goku, and the others hear a sound of a big bang. Beerus had received the blow from Raiden. A large curtain of dust covers the scene. We did it! It is another victory! What happened? I was so focused on Brunhilde's story that I didn't even realize what was happening in combat. Raiden would be surprised and nervous. What a disappointment. For an ordinary human, it wasn't bad. How is it possible? The dust gradually fades. The humans and gods in the stands are shocked. No scratches! Beerus doesn't have a scratch! Beerus decides to take Raiden's blow head on, but this one had no effect on him. It's also. Now do you understand the difference of our powers? Now, as I promised before, I'll teach you a little of the power of a true god. Raiden takes a few steps back. Referee says, what's wrong? Apparently Beerus is going to do something. Beerus rises to heaven. Referee says, it's flying! Beerus is flying! Zeus and the other gods were very worried. Gohan, what do you plan to do? As I guessed, Beerus' plan from the beginning was always that. Goku would be worried, but at the same time excited. And what's wrong? Beerus will awaken that Azathoth. With this, it will be enough. I still do not intend to destroy this planet. Beerus drops a small light of power. When it hits the ground, a great explosion covers the whole of Ragnarok. Wake up once and for all, sleepyhead. Brunhilde screams, No! The time has come. All the gods and humans would watch in great fear as the devastating power of Beerus. Interesting. Oh, tell me, what are those things? Here, wait. He is? That's Azathoth? Whis would reply, interesting. Brunhilde would say, no, it can't be true, it really exists? Brunhilde's skin would turn pale from fear. A being of enormous size would appear below the Ragnarok, and next to him came out another disgusting-looking being. Beerus would say, what are those things? Ah, that guy is still asleep after the big explosion. He is a lazy as Beerus himself. Whis would approach Beerus. Brunhilde would be hitting the floor since all her plans to save the human race would be spoiled. Gaul would be worried. Zeus knew he couldn't do anything. I knew that very soon I would wake up, but I never imagined that someone else would come looking for you. Tell me, old man, what exactly that thing is, and one of those monsters that surround him. I can consider you as a god of the exterior. I know nothing about you, but you are evidently very powerful. Let me tell you something. Listen carefully. Nothing and no one is a match for Azathoth. Once the awakened, all life will perish. Goku and Vegeta would be listening carefully. All the humans and gods in the stands would be confused as they knew nothing. Those monsters that surround Azathoth really are gods who keep him asleep. That symphony is the only thing that can reassure Azathoth. But once that symphony is turned up, the awakening and the end of the world is what awaits us. Are you trying to say that Azathoth is a destroyer? He can erase everything just by waking up. Do you know what is truly chilling about this being? Azathoth is known as a god from the outside. The gods of the outside are considered the most powerful gods in the universe. These gods are very intelligent, can create and destroy everything. But Azathoth is the opposite. What do you mean? The mentality of that god is of a 4-year-old boy. And to make matters worse, the monster is considered the strongest and most terrifying god among the gods. Since when are you here? That's the least important thing. I've decided that you can't take care of Azathoth. I will take him to the underworld and imprison him, and thus prevent things like this from happening. You won't be able to do any of that. You, Poseidon, and I decided that you would be the one to take care of this being, and this was the result. You are an idiot. How the hell could you think of doing Ragnarok on top of this monster? Ha ha. First, calm down. The end of the world was written by the Sisters of Destiny. The gods who kept Azathoth asleep are dying. After those 2 words, 2 gods who worked to keep Azathoth asleep pass away, leaving only one god at work. The energy of those gods is coming to an end, and they are only one who can keep Azathoth asleep. So this guy is a dangerous guy. Whis would look for more information on Azathoth. Who is that guy? He's the other reason why you will not be able to do anything. When Zeus began Ragnarok, appeared these things that seemed to be from another world. Even Thor and Poseidon himself were easily defeated by those beings of human appearance. Hate would be impressed. And that guy who is levitating seems to be a god from the outside. No, I understand. That explains everything. Hate helped me by getting me material for my experiments. All I had to do was keep him informed about the awakening of this monster. Enough talk. Beerus would go down to the ground and approach Azathoth. What's happening? The end of the world is on the back of that god who agonizes. Still, he continues to play that melody that keeps Azathoth asleep. Does that mean we will all die? We do? But they, what do you mean old? I'm still not quite sure. All we can do is wait. Sister, calm down. Even Ares himself is here. There is no more hope. Has to see something we can do, otherwise Hercules would never tell me that we would be the only ones who could save them. Katarot, Gohan, let's go to Beerus, and the others from here. We can't do anything. Very well. Hey, monster, stop playing that tune. Let Azathoth wake up. How dare he call the monster that god who has spent a large amount of his life protecting us all. I don't care who they are and how powerful those guys are. I don't care that that guy there killed Shiva. We have to do something. We can't let Azathoth wake up. Loki, Hades, Aphrodite, and Hermes would go down to where Beerus is, except Odin. He would stay watching everything from his throne. The god who plays the melody ignores Beerus. You would leave me no choice. Beerus would raise his hand, creating the Hakai. I won't say it again. Stop playing that tune. The god does not flinch. Haha, he doesn't listen to you. These gods have no ears or no eyes, and they lack senses. Wait, created by gods from outside solely for this purpose. Millions of years have passed. Millions of years that have not stopped playing this melody, but the time has come. The moment for their lives to shut themselves down. Mr. Beerus, will there be no other way to fix things? If this being awakens, this world will be in danger. Loki angrily says, wait a minute. We won't let you do what you want. I don't care who you are or whether or not you are of this world. Get out of here. You are nothing but annoyances. Beerus with a serious lip says, and if I don't want to leave, tell me what you'll do. Loki with all the courage in the world tries to hit Beerus, but Vegeta appears defending Beerus by hitting Loki in the abdomen, leaving him out of combat. At that very moment, he realized the great strength of Vegeta and understood how Thor and Poseidon himself were defeated by the Saiyans. Calm down, Dwarf. Do nothing you may regret. Zeus would laugh. This may be fate after all. The awakening of Azathoth was already written, but the appearances of warriors who changed the color of their hair and of a god from the outside who would defy Azathoth himself. I never saw him. Perhaps you can change the destiny of the world. Mr. Beerus, let me tell you something important. Before you do anything crazy... What is it about? I was doing some research. I delayed in getting this information because apparently the being in front of you is the same existence. The same existence? The role that this god plays is as great as that of Zeno-sama himself. Beerus shouts, Zeno-sama? What do you mean? Beerus would begin to worry. Whis would say, this god is the creator of the entire existence, not only of this universe, but of a large part of the multiverse. Vegeta and Goku would worry about. Beerus would say, what the hell are you talking about, Whis? This guy's a danger to everyone. Whis would reply, Mr. Beerus, you did not have to rush things first. But don't worry, even if this being awakens, nothing will happen to us since we belong to a multiverse very different and far away from him. Beerus would say, I understand, for a moment just scare me. Whis, very serious, would say, Mr. Beerus, that's not all. What's really worrying is that, what might happen next? Vegeta would be a little nervous and say, what does Whis mean? Whis would reply, I speak that the power of this being can be as destructive as that of Zeno-sama himself, and if so, we will not be able to do anything. Beerus would be very worried. Beerus would say, how is it possible for such a thing to exist? Whis would say, Mr. Beerus, you must know better than anyone, just as there are mediocre gods, as they are in this place, there are also gods who can live up to the great Zeno-sama. The multiverse space and time is so large that we could say that it is unlimited. Beerus would reply, Whis, tell me exactly what could happen if this god stops playing that melody and Azathoth awakens. Whis would say, I still do not know exactly, but most likely all life and existence disappears. Or maybe this being is a merciful god and does nothing that nobody knows. But apparently the gods of this place are very afraid of him. Goku would say, if something bad happens and if this Azathoth god decides to erase everything and we're still alive, I promise you that I will do everything possible to return everything to normal, and if possible, defeat Azathoth himself. Zeus, Hades, and Beelzebub are surprised by Goku's words. Beerus would shout, are you deaf or an idiot? Did you not understand that this being may be at the level of Zeno-sama himself? And if so, nobody will be able to deal with him. Goku would say, calm down, Mr. Beerus. Nobody knows that yet. Besides, if something goes wrong, I'll call little Zeno-sama with this button to help us. Whis would be surprised and say, I didn't know we'd have that option. Beerus would say, call Zeno-sama? Don't even think about it. What do you think will happen when Zeno-sama discovers that the god of Universe 7 is involved in all of this? The most important thing now is to keep alive the god who plays that melody. He's our only savior. After the words of Beerus, Raiden comes out of the rubble product of the explosion that Beerus created. Raiden would be badly injured and would see everything in a blur. Raiden quickly stands up and looks at a blurred silhouette, and with all of his strength, if the last god that was keeping Azathoth asleep. Raiden would say, at last, I'll give you a good blow, Beerus. A huge explosion covers the whole of Ragnarok. Goku shouts, it's awesome! All kind of this life disappeared in just 5 seconds. The whole place had changed to a lifeless, rocky look. Vegeta says, what the hell happened? Goku replies, they all disappeared. Beerus would be very nervous and said, and Azathoth? Where is he? Vegeta shouts, Mr. Beerus! Whis, behind you! Whis looks back. Whis is surprised that he didn't feel his presence. Azathoth hits the deities with his tentacles. Beerus is brutally hit, while Whis was able to dodge the hit. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan would be very impressed. Gohan would say, oh no, that being attacked Mr. Beerus. Vegeta says, guys are strong. Whis yells, Mr. Beerus. Beerus spits blood. Whis says, Mr. Beerus, are you okay? Beerus responds hoarsely, I'm fine. Whis says, that guy is more powerful than I thought. I couldn't even feel his presence. Beerus says, Whis, do you think we have a chance? I really don't know. Beerus says, interesting. Goku and Vegeta get in front of Beerus by transforming into Super Saiyan. Vegeta yells, I'll take care of that monster. Vegeta charges a great energy in his hands. Vegeta says, let's see if you can withstand the powerful Big Bang. Vegeta launches his attack. Goku is surprised Vegeta had not even scratched him. Vegeta says, how is it possible? I put all my power in that attack. Beerus says, don't get in my way, Vegeta. This is my fight. Beerus shouts, Goku, don't even think of calling Zemo-sama to fix our problems. This we have to solve ourselves. Beerus stands in front of Azathoth. Whis says, Mr. Beerus, please be careful. Azathoth's power is very unpredictable. Even I couldn't sense his intentions when he attacked us. I know. I can't seem to predict his intentions. Vegeta remembers. Could it be? Gohan says, what's wrong, Mr. Vegeta? Vegeta says, don't you remember, Gohan? That god that disappeared said that Azathoth is a very powerful being, the most powerful among all the deities, so much so that even Whis compared him to Zeno-sama. But the disadvantage of this guy is that his mentality is only that of a 4-year-old child. When a child wakes up from his nap, he often gets angry. Azathoth has so much power that he can't control it. That's the reason why he eliminated all kind of life in this place. Gohan says, I remember him, but even if he is very powerful, his party is too limited to fight. Maybe if we attack him together with our maximum power, we can do something to him. Goku says, we lose nothing if we try. Beerus says, wait a minute, I want to try to do something. Beerus approaches Azathoth. Beerus says, Walkari. Beerus' power of destruction has no effect on Azathoth. Beerus says, as I am magic, the sky is much stronger than me. Goku shouts, Mr. Beerus. Beerus says, let me try it. Whis, make sure Azathoth doesn't escape. Whis seriously says, as you say, Mr. Beerus. Whis with his staff and closes Azathoth in the containment sphere. Whis says, the moment his powers are closed, I will deactivate the spear that encloses Azathoth so that his powers hit the target. Goku says, very well. Let's attack him with our maximum powers. Gohan, Vegeta. Goku uses Ultra Imsket. Gohan uses his Beast Mode and Vegeta with Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Beerus, like the others, creates enormous power in his hands. Now, everyone release their powers. Whis deactivates his power, making Goku and the others hit Azathoth. Gohan says, "We hit him." The big explosion covers the whole planet, with dust and smoke. Whis is the first to be surprised. Beerus says, "What's wrong, Whis?" Beerus looks carefully, and when the dust fades away, he sees that it didn't do anything to Azathoth. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan are surprised. Whis says, "Did he dodge it? No, that's impossible. I'm sure he received the attack." Suddenly, Azathoth starts to behave strangely. Goku says, "What's going on?" Azathoth's skin breaks. Beerus says, "Don't tell me what." At that moment, a completely different being comes out of Azathoth, which says, "He transformed?" Azathoth says, "Thanks for waking me up." Vegeta says, "Speak." Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, Whis, and Beerus would feel a terrifying power. A being with a much smaller body than the monster Azathoth appears in front of Goku and the others. Goku nervously says, "His body totally changed." Azathoth stares at Goku and the others. Azathoth hits Whis, sending him crashing into several mountains. Beerus is shocked. "Whis, how is it possible?" Goku says, "Mr. Whis." Goku runs to help Whis. Goku says, "Mr. Whis, are you all right?" Whis answers, "That's right. Don't worry, I think we made a big mistake." Goku repeats, "A big mistake?" Whis explains, "The body that we saw before was only a shield so that the real Azathoth would not come out. When we attacked it with all our powers, the shield broke, making this being appear with a great power. That also explains why we did not feel its presence at the beginning, or maybe it could also be that it simply evolved. I still don't know exactly." Beerus says, "Damn you, you will fight me." He reswanches himself to hit Azathoth. Azathoth looks at his hands, appreciating his body and power. Beerus repeatedly attacks Azathoth's kicks, and punches are received by Azathoth without showing any response. Azathoth shouts, "This is amazing." Beerus would be very worried as his punches would have no effect. Beerus says, "So the old man wasn't kidding when he said this guy is a fearsome being." Beerus soars into the sky, coming out of the planet's atmosphere, created a great nova of energy. Gohan shouts, "Oh no! Mr. Beerus plans to destroy this planet." Goku shouts, "Mr. Beerus, don't do it!" Azathoth smiles. Beerus says, "I'll turn you into dust." Whis shouts, "Son Goku, Vegeta, Gohan!" Whis walks away with Goku and the others from the place. Azathoth raises his hands and claps them together, making two planets collide with great power, crushing Beerus. Beerus disappears with his energy. Beerus falls sharply unconscious to the ground. Whis says, "Mr. Beerus." Vegeta says, "That guy is the same demon." Gohan says, "Impressive. He was able to move the planets at will with such ease." Azathoth approaches Beerus and says, "How strange. Why were you able to stay alive after I wiped out all life in my wake? It doesn't matter. I will still assassinate you." Goku says, "Mr. Beerus, damn it. I can't watch that anymore." Goku appears in front of Beerus. Whis says, "Son Goku." Vegeta shouts, "Kakarot, you're no match for him." Gohan says, "Dad." Azathoth shouts, "Who are you?" Goku says, "My name is Goku, and I will not allow you to murder Beerus." Azathoth says, "That's not your decision, and you don't have the power to change my mind either." Azathoth approaches Beerus. Goku stands guard. Azathoth keeps walking. Goku launches into a fight. Azathoth's eyes shine. Goku is hit hard multiple times, fading his transformation. Gohan yells, "Dad!" Goku with a broken voice says, "Stop." Azathoth replies, "You are the only ones responsible for this. You should never have meddled in what doesn't concern you. Now you'll have to die." Azathoth grabs Beerus by the neck. Azathoth replies, "Die!" Whis appears trying to hit Azathoth. Easily dodging Whis's blow, Whis angrily replies, "Let it go." Goku says, "Mr. Whis." Whis angrily shouts, "I told you to leave him right now." Azathoth says, "Of you five, you are the most interesting." Vegeta impressive. I dodge Mr. Whis blows, making it look very easy. It's also the first time I see Mr. Whis so angry. Azathoth says, "Let's play a little. 10 minutes. If you last 10 minutes fighting me without dying, I'll spare the life of this trash." Azathoth locks Beerus in an energy sphere. Azathoth says, if you die before 10 minutes, my energy will carbonize him completely to the bones. Even his soul will burn depending on you. Goku says, Mr. Whis. Whis raises his staff, healing Goku. Whis says, go with the others. If something goes wrong, we will have no choice but to use that button. Goku says, Mr. Whis. Whis says, Son Goku, bringing the highest authority to a different multiverse can be considered as attempted murder or treason against Zeno-sama, and that is punishable by death. In this case, since Mr. Beerus and I are involved, it could be much worse. The death of our entire universe. So I recommend you not to use it. This is our fault and we have to fix it. Vegeta yells, Whis, there is still an option. You can go back in time like this time you did with Frieza. Whis says, that's impossible. Vegeta says, what? Whis says, Azathoth is the very creator of this multiverse. He is a creator and a destroyer, and he is stronger than me. That's why it won't work. Whis attempts to use this technique to go back in time. Whis says, as I thought I can't use some techniques outside my multiverse. Azathoth says, I understand. That's why you didn't disappear when I eliminated all kinds of life at this planet. The reason is simple. You're not from here and you come from a very different place than here. Enough of this bullshit. Time starts now. Attack me. Whis says, I will fight with all my strength. Whis and Azathoth disappear, causing huge energy clashes in the sky. Vegeta is impressed and says, what? Gohan says, that's the power of Mr. Whis? We can win. I'm sure we can win. Mr. Whis starts the fight at the same pace as Azathoth. Vegeta says, it would be a fool. If Whis said that Azathoth is stronger, it's because he's right. Besides, that jerk Azathoth is just play. He's not fighting for real. Goku says, we have to do something. The strong clashes of power will continue. Whis says, I never thought there would be someone other than an angel or Zeno-sama himself who could surpass my powers. Azathoth says, Zeno-sama? Whis suddenly comes up with a great idea. Whis says, we have to take Azathoth to our multiverse. Goku is surprised by Whis' proposal. Goku says, but how do we do that? Whis says, I will create a portal and force Azathoth in. You take care of Mr. Beerus. It's most likely that once Azathoth enters the portal, the energy surrounding Mr. Beerus will disappear. Prepare! Goku says, I understand. Azathoth asks, what are you planning? Whis says, I know my power is not enough to stop you, but I know of someone who can confront you. Azathoth says, anyone who can stand up to me? It is impossible for a being with these characteristics to exist. Whis opens a portal. Azathoth says, so, a portal. You want to take me with that beam? That Zeno-sama? Whis says, I will even if it costs me my life. Azathoth says, interesting. But let me ask you something. Whis says, I wonder what it is. How did they get here? Whis says, let's just say I just opened a random portal. I never imagined that in this multiverse, someone as powerful as you would rule. I imagine that apart from you, there must also be very powerful beings scattered in your multiverse. Azathoth laughs and says, haha, right, so a random portal. This must be a matter of fate. Azathoth continues, I want to meet that guy. I'll go with you. Vegeta, Gohan, Goku, and Whis himself are shocked by Azathoth's words. Azathoth vanishes, his energy that imprisoned Beerus. Goku says, Mr. Beerus, wake up. Azathoth says, come on, I can't wait to meet him. Whis still couldn't believe that Azathoth had said. Whis was beginning to question whether it was a good idea. Azathoth enters the portal. Has just emptied on its own. Let's all go. Whis and the others return to their multiverse. Azathoth says, so it's here. All the destructive gods and their angels. Daishinkan and Zeno-sama himself feel the great presence. Daishinkan says, this presence comes from Universe 7. Zeno-sama says, it's an incredible power, let's go! Daishinkan responds, immediately. Daishinkan and Zeno-sama quickly travel to the site. Azathoth says, it doesn't really make much difference, but I know it's not my multiverse because I feel some very powerful presences approaching. Daishinkan along with Zeno-sama and his guardians appear. Zeno-sama says, but if it is Goku? Hello, Goku. Goku says, little Zeno-sama. Azathoth says, Zeno-sama? Zeno-sama asks, who are you? Whis replies, Zeno-sama, as well as yourself. This person is above all, but in a multiverse different from this one. Daishinkan says, from another multiverse? Whis says, it's all my fault. I will accept responsibility. Goku says, Whis. Daishinkan says, Explain to me, Whis, what happened exactly? Whis replies, I created some portals with different points throughout the multiverse and re-enter one. Son Goku and the other participated in a tournament if I remember correctly, so they called it the Ragnarok tournament. Goku says, that's right. I myself asked Mr. Whis to take me to a place like that. It was a god versus humans tournament. If the gods won, they would destroy the whole human race, but if the humans won, they would let them live longer. That's why I asked Gohan and Vegeta to participate along with me. Daishinkan says, I understand. Whis says, but in that tournament, there was something strange, a power that slipped under the arena of Ragnarok. Azathoth. I never imagined that a being as powerful as him was sealed under the arena of combat, Azathoth said. That doesn't matter now. I only came for 2 reasons. Daishinkan says, 2 reasons? Azathoth says, I want Zeno-sama to face me. Daishinkan is surprised. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan will be very nervous. Zeno-sama says, then I will destroy you. Zeno-sama raises his hand, using his power of destruction to disappear. Azathoth. Zeno-sama is surprised and says, what happened? Why didn't you disappear? Azathoth didn't know what Zeno-sama had just done. Daishinkan was surprised just like the others. Daishinkan said, the only reason that comes to mind is that Azathoth is as powerful as you, Mr. Zeno-sama. Zeno-sama says, impossible! It's awesome! Tell me what you will do if we refuse to fight you. Azathoth says, what a good question. I really don't know yet. If they don't accept, I could kill them right here. Daishinkan says, I see. In that case, I will be your opponent. Azathoth says, I just came here to face Zeno-sama, the ruler of this world, the most powerful being in this multiverse. Whis says, I think I made a big mistake in bringing him here, but if I did not, he would have murdered Mr. Beerus and all of them. The Daishinkan says, now we have one more important issue in front of us. After we finish this, we'll talk about it. Azathoth says, do you claim to leave this place alive? Daishinkan attacks Azathoth, but Azathoth dodges the attack. Azathoth says, you're much stronger than the other subject. Let's see how much I can have fun against you. Azathoth hits Daishinkan. Azathoth is surprised because, like the Daishinkan, he had dodged Azathoth's attack easily. Azathoth says, you are fast. Daishinkan and Azathoth hit each other simultaneously, producing large impact shocks that would be heard in all universes. Champa would say, what the hell is going on? In Universe 7, you feel monstrous presences. Vermont would say, how's this possible? We are in Universe 11, and yet we feel these huge presences coming from Universe 7. What does this mean? Vados would be nervous. Champa would say, what happened, Vados? One of those presences is my father. Champa is surprised. Jiren says, I imagine Son Goku must also be there. Toppo says, tell me, Jiren, have you ever felt a presence like that comes from Universe 7? Jiren says, never. Quaitella says this is worrying. The strong impacts were still going on. This fight had become a competition of endurance. Whoever makes a mistake or gets a little tired would receive great damage. Vegeta says there's just the level of one of the most powerful in the multiverse. It's awesome. Gohan says, what power? I can't imagine reaching such a level. Goku says, Lord Daishinkan is awesome. Zeno-sama says, it's amazing, what fun! Daishinkan, you can use some of your real power. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan are shocked by Zeno-sama's words. Vegeta says, what? He's not using his full power? I thought that compared to Whis, he would be only a little stronger. Daishinkan's so strong? Whis says, my father is not yet using half of his strength. The gap between my father and me in terms of power and skill is very big. I have not even thought about matching it. Daishinkan expels enormous power by pushing back Azathoth. Daishinkan says, thank you very much, Zeno-sama. Zeno-sama raises his hand and says, let the seal be broken. Liberation. Daishinkan says, I have forgotten how nice it is to have all my power back. Though he says, impressive. Gohan says, its power has no limits. How is it possible for such a being to exist? Zeno-sama says, Goku, this is going to be a lot of fun, nor do I remember when was the last time I saw Daishinkan in his perfect form. Whis says, my father is incredible. The truth is that not even I knew of that power. Zeno-sama says, Angel Whis, thank you very much for bringing that really strong guy. Whis says, Mr. Zeno-sama. Zeno-sama says, it's very entertaining to see them fight. Even I would like to participate. Whis is shocked by Zeno-sama's words. Beerus wakes up and says, where am I? Goku says, Mr. Beerus. Beerus says, is that you, Goku? Where are we? Whis says, at last, wake up, Mr. Beerus. We're back in our multiverse, but apparently the situation got out of hand. Beerus is surprised. Beerus begins to tremble and says, Mr. Zeno-sama, good morning, afternoon, nights. I hope you're in good health. Zeno-sama says, hello, what's this flight? It's very interesting and fabulous. Beerus says, fight? Beerus is shocked to see Azathoth. Beerus says, Lord Zeno-sama, this site is very dangerous. Vegeta says, Mr. Beerus, pay more attention. Beerus says, Vegeta. Beerus would feel an enormous presence, a presence more powerful than that of Azathoth himself. Beerus, surprised, says, who is he? Why does he have so much power? Whis replies, Mr. Beerus, he is my father, but in his perfect form. Beerus, surprised and terrified, said, the Daishinkan? His power is more terrifying than I thought. Azathoth says, ha ha ha, so you too can evolve. Daishinkan says, you too? Apparently you've just been playing. Azathoth says, you aren't doing the same. Vegeta is surprised. That insect in all this fight has only been playing games. He has more power. Gohan says, I have no words for this. It just seems like a dream. Goku would be seriously watching the fight. Daishinkan would say, shall we continue with the fight? Azathoth asks, answer me something. Is Zeno-sama stronger than you? Daishinkan responds, if it is stronger, don't be fooled by my appearance. Just like me, he can evolve and become a perfect being. And yes, he is much stronger than me. After all, he is the one at the top of this multiverse. Azathoth says, interesting. Azathoth screams, Zeno-sama, I've come to propose something to you. Zeno-sama replies, yes? To propose something to me? What? Azathoth says, I invite you to a tournament in my multiverse. 13 bouts. The one who gets the first 7 wins, and they will be the winner. The only requirement is to be victorious and to leave the arena alive. In conclusion, one of the 2 fighters must die. You can choose any warrior from your multiverse or any other. It is obvious that in this tournament you and I will face each other. Goku, Vegeta, and the others are surprised. Gohan says, like the Ragnarok tournament? Azathoth says, that's right. Just like that silly tournament. I will leave everything back to normal and make some modifications. We will be free to use our power 100% without any restrictions. Daishinkan is surprised by Azathoth's sudden proposal. Zeno-sama's expression would change. Daishinkan would say angrily, idiot, that makes you think you can demand such a thing? Don't you even match my strength that makes you think you'll beat Zeno-sama? Azathoth transforms by completely changing its appearance. Goku's body, as well as the others, would not stop shaking. Goku says, what's wrong with me? How is it possible? Even Daishinkan was surprised. Azathoth raises his power by creating a great pressure expelled to Daishinkan, causing him to crash into a star. Vegeta says, the power of that cursed man completely surpasses that of Daishinkan. Azathoth would approach Zeno-sama. The guards stand in front of him, blocking his way. The guards say, don't get close. Azathoth says, then what do you say, Zeno-sama? Daishinkan rises up and quickly supports the guardians to protect Zeno-sama. Daishinkan says, your opponent is me. He will not accept such a thing. Zeno-sama says, it's okay, I accept. Everyone is surprised. Zenosama says, "You and I will fight to the death."